Good morning. So I just got back from my morning walk. It's a routine I do every day where I try to get out and just clear my mind before the day starts with a nice brisk walk along the river. I put my AirPods in. I'm always listening to a podcast and trying to just enjoy my morning. I'm highly aware here in China that pedestrians, well, specifically here in northern China, where I've lived in Beijing and Tianjin, pedestrians don't have the right of way when crossing a street. Whether that's a right turn on red, you gotta always look out for cars. So today I was on my walk and I was on a part of the walk where I definitely need to cross the street, but it's like a smaller street with a blind corner. And so I look to my left and there's no car coming. So I was like, okay, listening to my podcast and proceeded to walk. Then all of a sudden a car came up from around the corner and I assumed I'm already walking across the street. The car obviously is gonna stop and let me go on my way before it moves forward. It wouldn't have paused traffic or anything for the car to stop. But they didn't. They continued to actually go into the opposing lane of traffic, where luckily no car was coming, to go around me and honk their horn. I was like, really? Really? And then as the car passed me, because it was literally right in front of me, I hit the tail light. Not hard enough so that the owner of the car would notice, but enough that relieved a little bit of my frustration. I couldn't believe that they just wouldn't pause. I finished crossing the street and I thought to myself, what just happened? Why did you get so upset? Don't be this type of foreigner. You understand that assimilating to this culture here in northern China, that you don't have the right of way. So why did you get so upset? And so then I thought, I need to make a video about, hey buddy, don't be this type of foreigner. Because there's a lot of people who live like this when they're living in a foreign country. And it's not a good look. So let's get into it. Hey everybody, it's John Thomas. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for clicking on the video today. Based on my experience today and some of my reflections, I thought that I would share this fun video around don't be this type of foreigner if you're going to be living in another country. I was thinking to myself, what are all of those things that I've seen and heard some foreigners do that just make my skin crawl? Things that just make me go why are you even living here? So we're going to dive deep into that topic today with a discussion. Listen, don't be the foreigner who assumes that everybody should communicate in your first language. This is such a terrible way to approach things. You are a visitor in their foreign country and you should be knowing and communicating in their language, whether that's Mandarin, Italian, French, German, Russian, whatever language is the primary language. You should do everything in your power to communicate. I have seen so many foreigners who raise their voice, and that's not helpful. We've got a lot of tools and resources that can be used to be able to communicate now. And if you've lived here long enough, you should be able to communicate some of those simple phrases to be able to get through your day. So don't be that foreigner who assumes that everybody speaks your native language. Don't do it. There are so many people who don't do it, but those few that do, they leave a bad taste in the mouth of a lot of local people. Don't be the foreigner that yucks on someone else's yum. I love that phrase. I think it's associated with food. Each culture enjoys different types of food, is raised on different types of food that could be quite varied to what you're used to in your home country. You don't have to like it, but you definitely shouldn't make fun of or insult somebody for doing it. Recently, I was watching a TikTok video, and it's of a Chinese woman taking a skin of a cow and rinsing it with hot water, removing all of the hair, boiling the skin to make some kind of gelatin and some kind of stew, and then drying the skin for other purposes. And this woman was commenting on just how gross that is and what is she doing with that. And it's just distasteful. It's just gross. Like, you shouldn't be yucking on someone else's yum. And that's in every culture. It's not just China. You should really be okay with the fact that people eat and do sometimes different things. And it's 100% okay to maybe not like the taste of something, but you shouldn't be making fun of people for eating it and how they prepare it or anything of that nature. Don't do it. It's disgusting. It's not a good look on you. Don't do it. Don't be the foreigner that takes a back seat to your experience. Be the main character. Sometimes I do have a tough time with this one myself, but I've seen so many foreigners who just recluse back into their apartments, and they don't hang out in local culture. They don't go out and see different parts of the country or even the city that they live in. They don't experience the culture. Be the main character. Go out there, experience things, meet new people, engage in different activities, go to new places. It's amazing. So be the main character. Don't take a back seat, because nobody's gonna make this experience better for you if you're not the one that's initiating that. Do it, do it, do it. There are moments in my time in China that I didn't do that. And I look back at that and be like, what was I doing? Like, get out there, do more, be more. So be the main character, be the star of your own show, but you know what I mean. Do it. Don't be the foreigner that just hangs out with other foreigners. It is 100% okay to hang out with people from where you're from or other foreigners. There's a sense of community there. I 100% get that. But don't make it your only way of hanging out. Try to make friends with locals, people who can assimilate you into the culture, can share local customs with you and traditions, and who can really help make your experience even better. So don't be the foreigner that just hangs out with other foreigners. I've been there before, and it's not as fun. Like, it's better to be able to engage in the culture. Don't be the foreigner that complains all the time. There are so many foreigners that you run into that just are like, this sucks and this sucks. And, you know, I've had my moments, especially in this COVID situation in China, where I'm like, this is not fun. And I've had to stop myself, because I'm like, I just don't want to be one of those foreigners that it just complains all the time. Like, there's things that you can do to make it even better than what you're currently experiencing. And quite honestly, I don't think a lot of people want to hear you complain about your life abroad. I think a lot of people are really intrigued by people living abroad. And so, like, don't be the one that complains all the time. It's okay to vent every now and then, but don't be the foreigner that is like totally complaining. Nobody wants to hear that person all of the time complaining about their life. I mean, I guess that could be said for everything. Like, it's okay to vent sometimes, but don't be the one that's complaining, especially about the culture that you're living in. Last but not least, don't be the foreigner that thinks that they're better because of where they came from. It's not a good look for you. I think there's so many things that countries do really well across the world, and there's disadvantages to every country. But if you come off as in my country, nobody wants to hear that. Like, I guarantee you that nobody wants to hear it from a boasting standpoint or thinking that you do things better. Which is why I had that reflection today. Because all of a sudden I thought, well, in America, like, pedestrians have the right of way. Doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do. It just means that, like, it's different. It's just different. And so I had to check myself today as a foreigner living in a foreign country that sometimes other ways are just the other ways. And one's not better than the rest, but you do need to assimilate to the culture. Well, there you have it. My list of don't be this type of foreigner. It's a fun conversation to have. We all have our ups and downs. We all have our moments and reflections. Whether you're Chinese and living in America, whether you're an American living in China, whether you're French living in Italy, we all have our moments. And I think it's important to recognize and reflect and then be able to move on. But nobody wants to meet a foreigner who does those things. And we want to make sure that we think about that when you're living somewhere else. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.